Hi, I'm Brendan Tighe. I'm the lead developer at Karisvale, doing this video for the USC Games Expo. Karisvale is available on Steam and itch.io right now for PC and Mac for free. Full controller support, Steam achievements. What else could you ask for? So I'm going to jump right in. Uh, Karisvale was a game that originated as a class project in USC's intermediate game design class taught by Peter Brinson and Margaret Moser, where me and another student, Reed Weston, were partners making Karisvale. We worked on it for about 3 months and released it on itch.io after the duration of the class. And it got some pretty good feedback. We got maybe 100 downloads, and it was just so encouraging that Reed had to move on to other projects, but I was just so invested and had such a fun time doing it that I just kept working on Karisvale for around the past year. So Karisvale is obviously inspired by the overworld in Pokemon. The original inspiration was actually the Lavender Town creepypasta. Here you can see the menu for the collectibles, but I'll get into that a little later. So the gameplay for Karisvale is essentially that bit in a Pokemon game when you walk into a town for the first time and you're just going around talking to everybody. That's kind of what I had in mind. And the whole game can be played from start to finish in around 45 minutes. And there's no saving. It was actually a design choice because I wanted Karisvale to be this short experience that people just kind of take in the same way as they would, an episode of a series. And you can see there are interiors. Our protagonist's name is Seamus O'Malley, courtesy of my dad. He's actually the one that came up with the name. I asked him for a detective name similar to like Sherlock Holmes, and that's what he came up with. So you got the nice atmospheric clouds and rain, and it's just a very good vibe here. And this is Echo. This is actually my friend Vincent that I grew up with. This is his dog. And me and Vincent have always been good gaming buddies, and he's in love with his Shiba. And I asked, hey man, I'm making this game. Do you want me to put anything of yours in the game? And he's like, dude, can you put my dog in the game? So I'm like, oh. This is actually a photo of his dog. He like helped me. I don't want to do it. So he did all this filters and stuff on Photoshop to make it look like Seamus is petting the dog. The portrait art here was actually downloaded for free off of itch.io. It was a royalty-free character asset. And when making Karisvale, me and Reed, we originally weren't artists, so we didn't want to spend all of our time doing art. We just wanted to make and design the game. So here you can see the NPCs will kind of lead you towards your objective, like the text is highlighted red, just to reward the players for exploring everything. You can see on the topic of exploring, there are these collectible dead flowers, and you pick one up, there's a jingle, and you can see in the menu that every flower has a little description. So we just picked up this one by the lake, and it talks about the pond. And in a very cryptic-y way, I wrote all of these, and I based them off of the item descriptions in Dark Souls, how they're very cryptic and have like two meanings. And I'm very happy with how they came out. Now we're entering the mayor's estate. She provides the player with a mini game. There are not too many, but there are a few little mini games scattered throughout Karisvale. And I actually got the idea for that from Super Mario Odyssey, how there are the collectible moons that get players to just interact with everything. I wanted that. She is a quiz. Ask her, whatever that is. So yeah, the flowers are a great way to motivate the player to experience and poke their nose in everywhere and really become the private investigator that Seamus O'Malley is. But going back to the art that I was talking about, yeah, so the whole tile palette, the only thing done by me is the character sprites. The rest of the environment is a royalty-free asset pack. I'm going to jump ahead. There is the maze coming up, another sort of gameplay mix-up. And I'm going to jump ahead to the end of this. So after the player is being lost in a maze, a little stressful, they're going to come up to this very beautiful sort of breath of fresh air at Senescence Ridge, where you can see there's a little humpback whale. Humpback whales are my favorite animals, so I just had to throw one in there. You know, do my 10-year-old self a favor. So Karisvale is all about the build-up to horror rather than the jump scare itself. So I didn't want to rely on, obviously Doki Doki Literature Club, you'll see later, is a huge inspiration, but I didn't want Karisvale to be reliant on murder, suicide, and uncomfortable topics for it to be uncomfortable. I wanted Karisvale to be all about the build-up to what is coming. So here you're in a child's bedroom and you're like, oh my god, why is there a child's bedroom? The player kind of thinks something's going to get them, and that is the emotion I want to elicit. And whether or not something's going to get them is irrelevant. It's more whether or not the player thinks it's going to happen. And here there's a little link to the past Easter egg. There's a lot to explore in Karisvale. And it's one of those games that can totally be played multiple times to totally grasp the story, because it's like you interact with a bookshelf and you'll notice something that you didn't notice your first playthrough, and it really, the story is for you to find, like weeds in a sidewalk, So here's the lost man the player's been looking for. And he starts to give the player some weird things. He says, Karisvale citizen, you're also oblivious. Seamus isn't from Karisvale. So, I'm just going to kind of breeze through this, but you can see, like, not everything is as it seems. It seems like the lost man knows more about us than we do about ourselves. And here the player has the option to go back to continue collecting the flowers, but I'm going to keep going and help him because I'm not a sociopath who doesn't help him. Let's check it out. And then this redo of the intro stream comes up. Very ominous. And here you can see we're back at the beginning. A lot of players are super confused here. And this is where the Doki Doki Literature Club inspiration comes in. I just really wanted it to be like an amusement park. This is different. But then it's also normal on the surface. You can stand here and it's exactly the same as regular Karisvale. The player gets stopped in a scene kind of based on the Truman Show, the ending, where basically it's revealed to the player that he's being tested on by a mysterious admin in a simulation. Now is the grand finale of Karisvale. This is the moment that I wanted to just blow people away, where the genre of the game changes from a top-down 2D to a first-person, very realistic game. He just walked out of this bed, actually based off the intro to Doom 2016, where he gets up in the chair. There are a ton of little tiny things that inspired me, and yeah, I am not a master programmer. I can't do some crazy gameplay mechanics, so I just had this idea that Karisvale should go from 2D to 3D, and I rolled with it. And I think that's really what brings the game to life, and what makes it so unique. It's just, it doesn't have, if you like pull up the code, it's not too complicated. You don't have to be a master programmer to make a game. You kind of just have to roll with the punches and do what you can do. I didn't even know this was possible when I started the project a year ago. And then I just thought, can it switch from 2D to 3D? And it could, so I just kept going and saw what would happen. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Brendan Tighe once again, and here are the credits. The storyline was contributed to by Reed Weston, and the soundtrack was from Anta Aurora and the Berklee College of Music. And Karisvale, once again, free on Steam and itch.io. Please download it, support it, and help out a junior developer. And please enjoy the rest of the games. Thank you.